Today's task is going to involve preparing your school location information for importing into the travel tracker routing system. Attached to the Beyond Task email that you received is a file that you will open, and it's called one_importschools.csv. Simply click on that attachment from within the email and it should open in Excel, much like the one that you see on the screen. So you're going to prepare your school location information to provide to us, and then we'll import it into the travel tracker for routing system. The top rows at the top of this are simply sample data for you to get an idea of how to enter your information into the spreadsheet. You will enter your information starting right here in row 7. So let's look at some of the sample data to get an idea of how we do this. Note that you can expand any of these columns simply by putting your cursor between the column letters at the top and dragging them out. So the first item is a school code. The school code is a 3 to 4 or more short code for your schools. It should be no spaces and all caps. So for example, the first one that we have is Chestnut Elementary School. Our code for that is CES. Iron Middle School is IMS. And so you will do the same thing for your schools starting here on row 7. Now let's take a look at the next area, that's the bell time. So for each of your schools, you need to enter your morning and your afternoon bell times. Please enter those in the format as shown here. So for example, in this case, it's 7:50 space AM. So please try to maintain that format as you enter these below. So that's the morning and the afternoon bell times. Now, you have your earliest and latest drop-off times for the morning. Both of these times should be before the morning bell time. So in this case, our earliest drop-off is 7:20, our latest drop-off is 7:35. And of course, you may have your latest drop-off right up until your bell time, which is fine. Now, the next one are the afternoon times, the bus arrival time. That's the time that you expect the bus to be on the lot prior to leaving in the afternoon. And this is probably the most critical one, which is the bus departure time in the afternoon. So, for example, at Chestnut Elementary School, we leave at 2:10 p.m. Now, this should be after your bell time in the afternoon, but we leave at 2:10 p.m. And so that's the time that it's going to assume the bus is leaving. And that's when you calculate your directions and your stops. It's going to use that 2:10 time and say the next stop is 2 minutes away. It's going to start with your stop times by using this departure time. So this is a really important one here. All right, next we're going to look at things like the feeder school, and that's the next column. So you're going to indicate where this particular school feeds into. So in this case, if I look at Chestnut Elementary School, it feeds into Iron Middle School, which is IMS. So I'm going to use the IMS code to indicate that it's the feeder school coming from Chestnut Elementary School into IMS. So our next one is Iron Middle School. It feeds into MHS, which is Mountain High School, and here's the code. So these codes need to match what you put here. You'll notice that Mountain High School has no feeder school, so your high schools will be empty, but each of your elementary, middle schools should have a feeder school listed by code. The next area is the grade range, and so this you can copy these and paste these, but they need to be in this format. So you notice how we have a K, comma, space, 01, comma, space, 02. The easiest thing is to copy this. If you want to copy this and paste it into your school location below, you could make adjustments and then just copy this for all of your elementary schools. So if yours goes like to 06, you would just put a comma 06, and then you could take this and copy it all the way down through your elementary schools. Next, we get into the address information. And so you want to put the full street address of your schools here. Try not to use abbreviations. We will use this address to geocode that location. So address 2 you may not have. You're going to have city, state, and zip for that school. The longitude and latitude are not needed. If you happen to be pulling this from an existing routing system and you have that information available, you certainly could provide that. If not, when we import these addresses, we will geocode the longitude and latitude based on the address of the school. So that will be done automatically. So you don't worry about these. You can leave those off if you're coming from a manual system particularly. And then we just have some optional fields such as comments. If you want to put a main contact name, title, phone, extension, and email for an administrator of the school, you could do that, but that is completely optional, and that information can always be added in later in the system. Once you have completed and double checked your information, you can save the file and attach it to the Beyond task, and then you will want to mark the task done right from within the email or within the task, either one. You can provide that information. Now, just a tip here when you're working in this bottom section, um, because this is a CSV file and not a true Excel file, we can't provide formatting here for you. So what I would suggest is that if you're trying to make sure you have things matched up, one thing that you can do is click on the row number and just kind of make sure that all your stuff is matched up across the row before you save that. Once you return this information, we'll import it into the Travel Tracker routing system and proceed to the next step. Thank you.